actually getting ready to deliver some flowers today to my florist in town, and I thought I would show you how I count them out. So when I cut stems, because it's just the beginning of the season, I don't have a big flush of flowers because it's just the beginning of the season. So what I've been doing is I've been cutting in the mornings and then in the evenings, a little bit by little bit as it's been coming in, because I have an issue with pests. I have a invasion of the tarnished plant bug, and so I've been working around that, especially with my ranunculus. I have to watch them really closely because the bugs actually crawl into like the younger version of this bug, one of the first stages. It kind of looks like an aphid. It crawls inside the bud and then it eats the bud from the inside out. So I have to pick them as soon as they're at that marshmallow stage, so then they will open without having the bug damage in them. Today is the first day in a little while here that I've had a big flush of flowers. I harvested over the weekend, and so I'm taking her her Monday morning flowers. It's not really, I will have a better system eventually. It's just what was working for me, simply because last night when I got done picking, it was really quite dark. It was getting dark outside, and I just wanted to get them hydrated because it was just a really stressful day on them yesterday. We had really high temperatures and then it dropped down really cool, and I just wanted to kind of get in the house, call it a day. So I just threw everything into the cooler or the fridge, and I didn't sort them last night. So normally I would do a little bit more organization. So today I went through all of the stems. Part of the reason I did this today was because I wanted to make sure that all of them were good. I didn't want to take her any wilty flowers or any that were not going to rehydrate well. So but first, before we get on the road, the truck's already loaded up, but I gotta show you this. It's so pretty. Look at this. Amazing gray poppy. Isn't she beautiful? Wow. And this is one of those hens and chickens. I thought it was an amazing gray, but it's a hen and chicken. And then this guy is the Flanders field poppy. It's fading because the sun is scorching it, but it's still pretty nonetheless. So the poppies, there's lots of them. I'm really excited. I didn't think that they were going to survive, but they are surviving. Can't wait to see that all in a beautiful display of pods for my florist for later arrangements. Okay, so it's actually a couple of days later, and I have something kind of a little bit exciting tonight. It is evening. It's after 10 o'clock. I think it's closer to 11 p.m. here in northern Alberta, Canada. And it is cool enough now where I can actually release some ladybugs into my greenhouse and onto my flower farm. We have been dealing with really bad pests that have cost me a lot of my crops this year, and it's an outbreak in our entire area. So originally I was told that the pest pressure that I had bothering my stuff was a stink bug. It didn't make much sense because, one, when I squished it, it didn't stink. Two, we don't have stink bugs here. They don't survive the winters. So initially, I kind of got blamed that I had imported this bug. I had imported this bug by bringing in perennials that I had ordered from a supplier from an area that did have this invasive species. It's not so. We've since identified that I have a bug called a tarnished plant bug, and they are wreaking havoc on my whole place. All of our neighbors in all of our area, like a complete area, they have them. And to be honest, the traditional way to get rid of them is to use really harsh chemicals to spray and kill these bugs. So I'm not doing that. I've been contact spraying them. I've also been using a vacuum cleaner, and I've been sucking the bugs off when they're the adult stage. And what I did is I ordered some ladybugs, and the ladybugs, I'm going to release them in successions, and we're going to start with that tonight. We're going to do that together. So the ladybugs don't eat the actual bugs, but they eat the eggs. So I'm going to keep vacuuming my garden, and the ladybugs are going to eat the eggs, and hopefully by the end of this, by the end of the next couple weeks, we'll have this under control, and I will create some sort of a barrier, a buffer zone around me as the ladybugs begin to leave my property. They begin to combat and take some of the pressure off of my farm in the areas around me, because I have canola fields are in all directions around me, which is something that this pest thrives on, which is one of the biggest pests of the canola crop is this bug. It's really, really invasive. It's worse. They say it's worse than the stink bug because they swarm, and they within hours they can completely destroy so much. And they also like alfalfa, and there's alfalfa field next to me, as well as there's buffalo pasture next to me, and they don't use chemicals because buffalo don't do well when you spray with chemicals. So we're doing this as organic as possible and holistic as possible, to work in community with my neighbors and to do something, even, yes, I'm releasing beneficial insects into the environment. They will leave, they will die. They don't have a very long lifespan, and because we are choosing to combat aphids and the eggs of this invasive species with using other insects, we do suspect that it will do something, or I suspect it will do something to the system of, the insect pressure that we have here, and it'll affect the both good and bad bugs, and also, the birds and everything that feeds on them. But I also have guineas, and I do expect that my guineas are going to go after the ladybugs as well. So there's all the things there's no good way to deal with pests. I don't want to use chemicals, and this is what I'm doing, is releasing ladybugs. I also have a treatment called I have aphidites. Aphidites are what they call aphid eliminators, and I do have some of them I ordered as well. I came in from out here working in the garden, and I had aphids on me. So they are present in the garden, and which is quite concerning because we don't usually see aphids in our area until August, and they're here early. So that is very concerning to me. So I am going to get those, basically you incubate them by warming them up out of the fridge, the aphidites, and I'm going to release them into my greenhouse as well to prevent any more aphid or bug pressure from plants that are already in trouble from the pressure from the tarnished plant bug. So it's a big combat, but we're going to do that. First of all, what they say when you release ladybugs, you can't just open the box and go, ta-da, here's your new home. What happens? Distraction. Look at that. I'll show you a close-up in a second. But what happens is they will dehydrate really easily, and they've just been shipped from BC. They've been just shipped from Langley, British Columbia, all the way from there to Peace River, Alberta, where I had to make the hour trip down there and pick them up from Purolator. They were sent in a box that was nice and cool. They had lots of moisture in there, so they weren't going to dehydrate.
This is how they pack the ladybugs. They are shipped in a styrofoam ice box, They call this a fish cooler or like a fish box. These are the aphid eliminators that are known as aphidites. And so these will go into the refrigerator until I'm ready to put them out, and they just need to be kept at room temperature until they hatch.
I have them in the fridge so they are cooled off. I should be able to open the bag and handle them. I am going to be pulling some out because I ordered 35,000 ladybugs. I'm not releasing all of them at one time. What is recommended is you release them slow. So my fans are not running in the greenhouse. Like my circulation fan, I'm not sucking any air out, so this is perfect. It's cool in the greenhouse. What I need to do is I need to wash any residual chemical or any soap, and I did use soap in here. I need to wash any insecticidal soap or any soap off of my plants, and I need to make sure every single plant has hydration. And so then what I will do is, now, like, once all the plants have hydration and all the plants have been moistened and have moisture on them, I will bring the ladybugs inside, and I will either put some in a jar and set the jar down inside the greenhouse on the ground in the hot spots where there is a lot of the infestation of either the tarnished bugs where they're laying eggs or aphid infestation, and I will set them in there and allow them to come out just slowly as they're warming up and from being refrigerated, and allow them to come out organically and hydrate because they're going to be thirsty. They're going to start looking for some water, and so that's part of why you want to soak everything. So I'm going to soak everything in here, and then but before I do that, I wanted to show you guys this stuff. Maybe I'll turn this around. Hold on. Okay. So I'm going to, the sunflowers over here, I'm going to hydrate them, wash off any residual soap. We've had some rain that washed a lot of the soap off, and I had rinsed it off. But as you can see, they're blooming prematurely. These should be like up to here before they start blooming, and they're quite a lot shorter and they're very small. They're stunting, and so I'm going to harvest these guys, and then I'm going to hydrate everything and put out. Oh, coyote patrol on duty. I hear coyotes howling. Distraction. So I'm going to hydrate this row, and then we'll put the sunflowers out here, or we'll put the ladybugs out here as well. So I'll take you along for that as well. I'm not going to show you me hosing it or harvesting because you know how that works, but I'm definitely going to show the release of the ladybugs because I think it's cool, and I like ladybugs, and I hope you like ladybugs too because ladybugs are cool. Oh, yes. I need to show you this calla lily. Oh, it's so pretty. I can't believe it. Look at this. Hello, gorgeous in a crate. Hello. It's gonna get taller, and I'm gonna harvest it and take it to my florist. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. I think these ones are the black ones. So, because I had black and white. This one kind of looks like it's a creamy yellow, or like a butter yellow. Beautiful calla lily. I hope it just gets a little bit more stem. So excited to see those. I also, look at these guys are starting to bloom. They're starting to get color. So excited. The problem is they got hail damage. We had a really bad hailstorm, and it caused a little bit of grief, but I'm still going to be able to harvest these, and then the bulbs of these I will be planting in the landscape and hoping that they will come next year.
Properly stored, the ladybugs can actually stay in the refrigerator just like this, in this sack, in this little setup that they have here for 2 to 4 weeks safely. This is allowing me to do successions of ladybugs when there's flare-ups or hot spots within the farm or in the greenhouse. If I see some pest damage or an increase of aphids or eggs on the plants themselves, on the leaves from the tarnished plant bug, I can just take a few in a little jar or a shot glass and set them in right out of the fridge, set them on the ground just like this, and they will slowly warm up and, you know, begin their journey. But it's always important to make sure the plants have hydration on them. So spraying the plants down before allows the ladybugs to come out of this dormancy kind of state and get hydrated, take a good drink of water, and then they go about their business and start chomping on those eggs that we don't want in our gardens, or those pests that we want to get rid of, the bad ones. This worked really well for me to kind of I spilled a whole bunch inside of this, and you just shake it, and then I'm able to literally pour them into the jar, and it works pretty good. They have to be quite cool for this to really work well, right out of the fridge. And there's my jar of bugs, and I found I had a really bad infestation of the tarnished plant bug in my celery. They were laying eggs in the celery, and I have a lot of celery. I think I have a 72 tray of celery planted in the greenhouse. So I decided I better put some ladybugs strategically every few feet along the side of the greenhouse that has celery, and will allow them to I'll put the jar underneath the canopy of the celery, and yeah, it's hard to see the celery. It's sort of getting dark. This little one found some water on my arm, and I could literally feel it like doing something where it was drinking. It was weird. And I added a little bit of ladybugs to some of my hanging baskets, and because there was a lot of infestation on there. It was a beautiful night, and I wanted to make sure that I took advantage of getting as much out in the moonlight. I was out hydrating the beds, spraying down the sunflowers. I didn't use I didn't use any chemical. I did use a little bit of insecticidal soap, and I did use Dawn dish soap to spot treat some of the really bad infestations, ones that I couldn't vacuum off. There's Iceman over in the distance. I don't know if you can see him, but it was just a beautiful night to be out and doing this. Took full advantage of this glorious night. The only downfall was the mosquitoes. Look at the damage. Oh, it's really devastating and heartbreaking to see this happen to all of your work. Luckily, we can still use the sunflowers because we stripped the leaves anyways. They're just small and short, and I have to sell them as minis. So outside, I just sprinkled the ladybugs on top of the plants and called it good.
Well, it's pretty much dark. There's a beautiful sunset going on. The colors are gorgeous. That's not the sunset. It's just a hue, a glow, but the moon is shining bright still. And I think that I'm not going to get any flowers cut tonight. I don't want to disturb the ladies while they are getting hydrated. Yeah, the shop light's on. It's time to go inside. It is at night. It does not look it looks much darker or lighter on the camera than it actually is. I think there's another 10-15 minutes before we are literally really dark. So I'm getting ate alive by mosquitoes. So that's a wrap for the ladybugs. I will be doing successions. The lights are on in the greenhouse, the solar lights. You see them flashing. That is a wrap though. So the remainder of the ladybugs that I have quite a few left. I am keeping myself a bunch. I'm going to sort these out tomorrow, probably tomorrow night. I'm going to see how they did tonight. I'm going to sort them out now that I know how they're packaged. And I'm going to make several jars with like a burlap top banded on top, so that there are several jars that I can store in the fridge safely for up to 4 weeks. But I'm also, the mosquitoes are so bad. I'm also going to provide some of my friends who are struggling with aphids and this bug, this tarnished plant leaf bug. I'm going to supply them. I got a little bit more than I know I needed, simply because I didn't plant as much as I have the full garden space. So I don't really, I'm not treating as much of the cut flowers as I needed to for the recommended amount. So I ordered extra for my friends. And so what they're gonna do is they're going to pick them up in the next couple days, and they'll have they'll have a jar of this. And it won't be in this vlog or anything of sorting it out or anything like that, because I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet. And I just thought I would let you know how I'm using this 35,000 ladybugs. I didn't release them all in one shot. I will give these guys a few days, and I'm still going to try, when I see the beetles themselves, or like the bugs themselves, what I'm going to be doing is I will have my vacuum out there, and I might even bring my Dyson just because it's a little easier and I can charge it remotely, and it's just a little easier to pack through because it's cordless. And I might just suck up the bugs, like the bad bugs that I'm seeing, the adult forms, and then let the ladybugs have a chance to work and attack the eggs. And then if I see more flare-ups coming, then I will release more of these ladybugs in those hot spots. And the lady recommended, Heather, she's really knowledgeable. This is the information if you're interested, if you're in Canada and you want to know where to get these guys in bulk, like what I did. This cost this much money, but the chemicals would have been much worse and cost me a lot more in the long run. So to me, this is worth it. And also I am dispersing this, and I have other products like the aphidites. I have the aphidites as well. I have 3 trays of those, which were quite pricey for the aphids, because I don't want to send any aphids to my florist whatsoever. Never, ever, ever. So I'm getting some of them to make sure that I don't have that issue in my greenhouse. And so yeah, it is pricey, and it is organic. It is a process, but I can sleep better at night that I didn't put poison on the things that people are touching, things that we're around all the time, and also where potentially I will be growing my food in coming years. And I know it's a common practice to use chemicals on stuff like canola to get rid of these bugs. I really, really, really have a very strong sensitivity to these kind of chemicals. They make me very, very sick, and that's why I live this holistic lifestyle, is because I am the kind of person that will go on into a full-on autoimmune response when I'm driving by a field that's been sprayed. And it's very, very serious and very critical sometimes, where I've gotten to that point where I've been really sick, and it's no fault of the farmer, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just a person that's sick from, or gets sick. I am just a person that gets sick from my sensitivities to certain chemicals, whether it's a cleaning chemical, whether it's a spray, a herbicide, a pesticide, it doesn't matter. I have sensitivities, and this is my method. I know there's plenty of other ways to deal with this and plenty of opinions, but this makes me happy, and it makes me feel good at the end of the day. I'm going to sleep good tonight knowing that I am not causing a lot of harm to the environment. Well, anyways, thank you guys so much for hanging out tonight. I'm going to go to bed and get away from these mosquitoes because they are eating me alive. Take care, you guys. Bye for now. Well, hello. What are you doing?
Average current major league manager, because they're just not producing enough with the bats. They have 50